Practitioner Allison Goslin. Welcome to the Heart of Healing. If you are one of our live streamers, please go to the chat and tell us who and you are and where you are streaming from. We would love to know where you are. For those of you who are here in person, please take this moment to silence your cell phones. We begin our time together tonight with a pre-service meditation. So I invite you to get still and close your eyes. Allow yourself to simply notice your breathing and to be present in this space. If your mind wanders, simply bring it back to this mantra: God's the love that I am. I will bring us out of our meditation in 10 minutes. Welcome to those of you who have joined us while our meditation was in progress. We're so glad to have you with us, whether you are online or in person.
Good evening once again, and welcome to the Wednesday night service. At this time, please join us in singing our opening song, I Am Open. You may stand if you like. I am open, I am open, I am open to receive the love in you and me. I am open, I am open, I am open to receive the love in you and me. You are open.
You are open.
You are open.
I know you are.
You are open to receive the love in you and me. You are open.
I know you are.
You are open. You are open to receive the love in you and me.
Knowing that we are open.
We are open. We are open. We are open to receive the love in you and me. We are open. We are open.
We are open.
We are open to receive the love in you and me. The love in you and me. Oh, the love in you and me.
Thank you all. Please be seated.
Please be seated, and as you settle in and get comfortable, I invite you to consider these words. There is a power and presence in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. It is a power for good and a presence of infinite love and peace. Join with me now in the awareness that that power and presence as we begin our service in prayer. So I invite you to simply sit back, relax, feel the support of the chair beneath you, and take in a deep cleansing breath into your heart center, knowing that you have just aligned yourself with the divine creative force in the universe. This divine force is power, it is love, it is health, it is wisdom, it is consciousness. This power created the universe and everything in it, in the visible and the invisible. It so loved itself that he created all of humanity in its image and likeness, each individually expressing as itself. It is the mighty I am presence that I am, and so as with one voice, we trust in that presence, knowing that we are enveloped in the principle of unconditional love, knowing that we are guided and protected in divine right action in our every thought or every word and all our activity. Knowing this to be true, I know that this evening is perfect as we are inspired and uplifted by the words of Reverend Sidney as the word of the divine. And so knowing this to be true, we are eternally grateful for all who have participated in this service and who have put this service together. So there is nothing left for me to do except to release my word into the infinite law of mind, knowing it is so and it can be no other way. Together we say, and please join me in saying the Our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. So if you would now please join me in reading our statement of being. Today, I have all that I need. I remember that right where I am, God is fully present, active, and creative. I surrender to a greater experience of divine order and grace. I relax and remember that the deep and undeniable truth that dwells within me and with all beings is love. Love energizes, transforms, restores, and renews every part of my awareness. And therefore, every part of my world, I let go, knowing that as a child of infinite intelligence and joy, I have all that I need. And so it is. Amen.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth, it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love is Lord of heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? I lift my eyes, the cloud grows thin. I see the blue above it, and day by day this pathway smooths. Since first I learned to love it, the peace of God makes fresh my heart, a fountain ever springing. All things are mine since I am one. How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing?
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. How can I keep from singing? You had no way of knowing that that's one of my favorite songs. It's so beautiful. All right. Hi. How's everyone doing? So last week it was, cold and rainy, and here we are this week. It's nice and sunny. I think this weekend there's a forecast for snow and locusts and frogs, so we'll just see. Okay. When the world appears to have lost its footing, it's very easy to think that all of these events are adding up to some sort of colossal ending or apocalypse. And guess what? They are. End of talk. No, just kidding. So Here's what, here's what needs to end. Here's what needs to end. We must end our fear of each other. We have to end our fear of each other and begin reaching out more than ever before so that no one, and I mean no one, believes that they are alone or unimportant. We all matter. We all matter. One of the shows I like to watch is about a detective, Harry Bosch. And his line is always either everyone matters or no one matters. And that's the way I feel about humanity and people and this teaching, is that we all matter, because if we don't all matter, then no one matters. And we have to remember that we matter. We start with ourselves, and we serve that knowing by loving everyone else around us and remembering to be that presence of love even when everything in our being is telling us to argue, to hate, to gossip, to be small. We get to argue against that and to stand in the light of truth and say, nope, I'm going to love. I have other choices to make. The choice I make is love. So we must end the ways that we feed our beliefs in the pernicious idea of the other. The other. We're family. Period. We are family. This community is a family. Family holds one another close, ideally, and nurtures hearts, minds, souls, and bodies. There is no other. We've all we got. We are all we've got. We are one. And we must each now end our own self-loathing and devaluation. Anybody got that going on? There are those times when it's really, really easy to practice self-loathing and devaluation. When you and I can truly realize that everyone, including ourselves, is a vital creation of the divine, we will be able to hold each other up in this glorious appreciation of our shared fragile humanity, as well as our individual radiant uniqueness. You know, our souls are desperate for us to stop talking about powerful love and to start being powerful love. Stop talking about it, start being it. So imagine how our daily lives would be if we were so busy seeking out ways to be loving and kind that we had no time to think about limitation or failure. Imagine that. And how much sweeter would every day be if instead of thinking divide and conquer, we practiced unite and serve. But our mindset, particularly in this culture, this Western world culture, is divide and conquer. And it's very easy to start thinking that that's the way it's got to be. It is not the way it has to be. Question it. Remember to question it, because we are here to unite and serve. We are here to unite and serve. And by the way, just so you know, the word apocalypse comes from the ancient Greeks. I know I can say that word. I've said it many times in my life. And its original meaning is to uncover. To uncover. So what is it that we are being called to uncover in this apocalypse of change, of shift, of whatever's going on in the world, whatever is going on personally, professionally, socially, in this community? What is being uncovered? What is the higher idea, the truth, the power, and the presence that is seeking to be uncovered? It's always going to, by the way, spoiler alert, the answer is always going to be one word: love. That's what's seeking to be uncovered. And yet, in this idea of apocalypse, I think that there are times it gets so covered up, so covered, so buried, just messed with, muddied, that we don't realize that there's a greater idea that's seeking to come forth. What if all that is going on in the world around us, in the collective soul's call to uncover, is really a call to uncover our true spiritual natures? What if today were the day that you and I chose to let go of all of our old opinions, our judgments, and thought patterns, all of that stuff that gets in the way, that distracts us from the truth of who and what we are, so that we can uncover, really uncover, in an apocalyptic way, our oneness with and as God? To just say, that's it, I'm doing it now. No more excuses. No more excuses. It's just time. So Raymond Charles Barker wrote this in The Power of Decision. Will my decisions today be based on today's experiences guided by the wisdom of the past? Or will they be determined only by past memory patterns? And that's an important question, because we do have these patterns of how we want to think. And you can find them in the collective, in the race consciousness all the time. Just certainly by thinking of some of the phrases that we know that we can complete without just hearing the first few words. Like, I was waiting for the other. Thank you. Exactly. Those phrases. And there are lots of them, aren't there? Well, it's always, right? Murphy's Law. I could just say Murphy's and you're going to respond with law, because there's all of this that will try to get us to be convicted of the negative. And it might even try to show up as the affirmative. But we must be so convicted of the nature of God within us and around us and as us that all of that fades away, that it has no interest. It has no interest. When we have no interest in something, it actually goes away. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Can we begin to be indifferent to all of that stuff that has covered up the love? So Raymond Charles Barker continues, you have to be a today person in a today experience to have the fullness of life here and now. In other words, we can do second verse same as the first, a little bit louder, a little bit worse, or we can stand with the clarity and the purity and the newness of this moment. Every day we're faced with choices and decisions. We absolutely are. And no matter what that area of life is where we are called to make the decisions, we generally ask questions, or we try to ask questions so we can uncover what we need to know and what we should do. So the questions we often ask ourselves are things like, what do I do now? What's going to happen now? Where do I go now? What do I want? Those are all the material-based. Those are all the material, ego-based questions. What are the questions we can ask in times of great transformation or the apocalyptic uncovering? I believe that every point in our lives, every point, we can always ask a bigger question that will answer all of the others. It will inform all of the others. Who am I to be in this? Who am I to be? Not what am I to do? What do I need to fix? Who do I need to call? Who do I need to tell about this? Who can I complain about this to? Somebody should do something. Who is that person I need to talk to? But who do I need to be in this? So I have a rule for myself, and you've probably heard Dr. Mark talk about this too, that if I'm going to watch any news program like CNN, I have to do it with a filter of, is this a prayer request? Or I'm looking for prayer requests. And I started doing it a long time ago because it seemed like a much better option than having my head exploded on a daily basis over what I was reading and hearing. So I want to tell you a little story. On June 12th, 2016, I was driving from my home to Unity of Portland, where I was scheduled to give the Sunday morning talk. And I was conducting the service. Now, at the time, I was the associate minister there, and because I knew our senior minister seldom had the chance to check any morning news feeds before doing Sunday services, she had 2 daughters that she was raising as a single mother, and as leader of this community, had a lot of responsibilities. So since I knew that she would not have a chance to check headlines, I would usually scan the headlines just in case there might be a need for some deeper prayer support or some wisdom to be called for, wisdom to be brought forth. So since I was the minister on duty that day, I woke up early, I got my giant cup of coffee, and did about an hour of spiritual practice and meditating, which is what I normally do. Then I got dressed, did my hair and makeup, because of course I do ascribe to the idea that vanity, thy name is woman. I then got in my car and I set out on my commute. Now, I didn't scan any headlines that day. I went to consciousness and trusted that if there was anything I needed to know, I would know it when I needed to know it. So when I know I'm going to be speaking, I only listen to inspirational talks from powerful and strong New Thought leaders, or music, by Doobie Brothers, Lady Gaga, Earth, Wind and Fire, Count Basie. And by the time I get to the church, I'm like this. I'm like, And I'm walking in going, yeah, born that way. And anyway, one of the things I did listen to that morning was actually a talk from Dr. Mark. And he quoted a line from the Talmud. And it was this: when you exist in the time of deepest darkness, act as though the light has already come. When you exist in the time of deepest darkness, act as though the light has already come. Now, for whatever reason, this logged into my brain, and I remembered it. So I got to church, everyone's bustling around, we're all doing everything we need to do. We started the service, opening prayer, some words of welcome, announcements, a song or two. And then we did as we always did, or we used to do before COVID. We did our meet and greet, right? Remember that? You walk around, shake hands, and you fight off the hugs from those people that you don't want to hug. I mean, you hug people and you offer them. We used to actually do training because we had people that just really did not want to have a hug, and they didn't know how to let someone know. So I had two of my singers at one point. Okay, so one would come rushing to the other in a hug, and the way to deflect that would be no, or no, or no, or if you wanted the hug, yeah, absolutely, I want the hug. So anyway, we might have to, when we go back to doing meet and greet, we might have to have that training again. Anyway, it wasn't until that was almost over that someone made their way over to me in the midst of all the hugging and asked, "Hey, are you going to say anything about Orlando?" And I thought, well, I like Disney as much as the next person. I said, "Orlando?" And she said, "Yes. Didn't you hear?" Remember my saying, I will always know what I need to know when I need to know it? She said, "Early this morning there was a mass shooting at a popular gay nightclub, and at last count over 50 gay men had been slaughtered." See, I had not looked for the CNN prayer requests that day. I hadn't done it, so I had no idea. I breathed, I turned back to the podium, and I breathed again. So when everyone had settled back in their seats, I was no longer there to talk about my topic, which was the gifts of tithing, and thinking such things as, well, I'll just put this quote here and I'll do this little joke there. It was not that. Instead, my talk very quickly became about the ways in which, when we exist in the times of deepest darkness, how do we act? How do we act as though the light has already come? How do we be that light? How do we be that light? You know, as I've been growing up in New Thought, I have seen how the focus of our teaching has moved, happily so, past the me, I call it the screaming me consciousness, into the we consciousness, the community, the collective. Thank God. Thank God. So I want to say that just in the last week, we have had events that would lend you to think that we live in the times of deepest darkness. The situation in Gaza, the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, a bridge collapse in Baltimore. And by the way, I lived in Baltimore for years, and I traveled that bridge a lot. And I know that bridge, and that was stunning to me. It was absolutely stunning. We've also had huge tornadoes and storms. They've been doing lots of damage in the southern part of the United States. Now, that's a long list of CNN prayer requests, don't you think? What are we to do with all of this? What are we supposed to do? But more importantly, who are we to be? Who are we to be in this? Now, understand that my purpose here tonight is not to make everybody feel bad. I want us to unerringly stand in and on spiritual principle. And I mean 24/7, 365. To know with every breath, oh, I am that I am. I am loved. I am the truth. God in me, fully expressing. Whatever that phrase is, that idea that brings you back unerringly to your center. There are times, I need you to know, there are times I do it moment by moment by moment by moment. There's some days it's much easier. I don't have to do it like that. But there are some times when I really, really have to just bring myself to this place of reminding, right? Reminding. So going back to that one mind, yes, the capital M mind, and disciplining my own mind. Minding my mind, yeah. We don't get to a place of deep knowing and strong consciousness by avoiding the opportunities that are presented every day to remember who and whose we are. That is not how we grow. And by the way, who and whose they are, those others that we are angry at, afraid of, resentful about, or blaming, or in any way keeping out of our hearts, those are the ones that absolutely are the key to our own greater experience and expression of love. So as Ernest Holmes wrote, love points the way. It will always point the way. Whether it's a war over a here, or someone who just ran into your car at the parking lot in Trader Joe's, or someone at the grocery store, or a family member, love points the way. That is the way, and the law makes the way possible. Love points the way where more love is needed. Have you noticed? Love points the way where more love is needed. I wish it were easier. I want love to point the way where fun is happening. I want love to point the way where there's going to be a lot of pink fairy dust, unicorns, and chocolate. That's really what I want. But I know that love points the way where we are to become greater and bolder in our expression of God's love than we have ever been before. So one of the writers I like is Howard Thurman. And you may know about Howard Thurman. He was a brilliant teacher and writer. He was one of the mentors for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he also co-founded the Church for the Fellowship of All Peoples in 1944 in San Francisco. It was the nation's first interracial, interfaith congregation, the first one. So in The Inward Journey, he wrote this: the stirring of energy in myriad forms of unstructured malevolences may well be the spirit of life or God at work in behalf of new life and perhaps a new creation on this planet. In other words, these are the evolutionary triggers. These are the evolutionary birthing points. Those unstructured malevolences, those are the things that are calling us to grow, to reach deeper, to reach out farther. We must find our place in the areas of the new vitalities, the place where the old is breaking up, and the new is being born. What a moment to be alive, and more importantly, to be aware. Those are his words. And he went on to quote a contemporary French philosopher, Fénelon: accustom yourself to remain at peace in the depth of your heart in spite of your restless imagination. Isn't that beautiful? In spite of all that stuff that we create and tell ourselves. You know, the visceral and very human part of us wants to react in horror and rage when we read about or hear about events in the world that seem to be so much less than the divine ideal. But what if those things are actually God coming forth, God seeking expression, love calling for expression? What if all of those are still part of God? What if all of that is still God expressing? You know, Howard Thurman also wrote this: don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive. And go do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. What are those things that make you come alive? Is it singing? Is it service? Is it loving? Is it giving? Is it cooking? Is it walking? Is it hiking? Is it painting houses? I don't know what it is for you. But that's what we need, is this energy of aliveness. That's what we are called to do, is be that energy of aliveness. We have choices. We can choose first to allow for reactions when stuff goes on. And it's important that we do that. Feel the pain, right? Feel the pain. Because we need to experience and process the stuff in the realm of human emotion. We're here to do that. And then we can, and I think we must choose to engage in the mature and inspired level of spiritual response where we ask the question, who am I to be in this? Who am I in this? And there really is only one answer to that question. It's love. It's God. You and I are here to be God in these places and spaces of what Howard Thurman called the unstructured malevolences. We are here to do that, to be that love. You know, when my son was about 12 or 13, He played baseball. They don't call it Little League anymore. They call it something else, but you all know what I'm talking about. And at each game in practice, parents were responsible for bringing the snacks, the juice, the water, the donuts, the pretzels, whatever. And it was really important to bring whatever we were assigned to bring. You and I have been assigned to bring the God. We have been assigned to bring the God. And here's something you got to know, that once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. Not in this realm. Once you know that you are an intentional and dynamic creation of God, you cannot pretend to be less than that. And why would you want to? You won't be very successful at it, I promise. Who am I to be in this? Who are we to be in this? You know, I'm focused on these questions about living in our divine and spiritual identities because we too at this church are going through shifts and going through changes. We're about to go through a major leadership shift, and I don't know if all of you are aware of that. I think most of you might have heard the announcement on Sunday, but if you have not, we announced it at both of our services this last Sunday, that after 33 years of ministry, Dr. Mark has decided to step down and to install me as your new senior minister as of June 1st. Thank you. That's actually not why I said that, but it still feels good. Now, the announcement may feel very sudden to you. It will probably bring feelings of grief, shock, anger, frustration. You know, how could he do this? How could he do this? There must be something we can do to change this, right? What can we do? And by the way, I have those feelings of sadness too. I'm sad that my friend and my mentor will be leaving. I really am. But I'm also excited that he's going to be stepping into a new adventure of travel, of incredible newness. He's going to be living with Joe, his husband, in Hawaii. That doesn't suck. I know, right? I'll get his address and I'll give it to everybody. No. I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of this community and to join with all of you in finding ways to celebrate service and to serve people who are in need, to serve each other, and to grow in oneness and to travel this amazing path of creativity, of expression, of possibility. So who are we going to be in this time of transformation? Who are we going to be in this time of change and shift? Who are we called to be? How are we going to live? How are we going to respond to this? Are we going to run for the doors? I hope not. Are we going to stand together and nurture our feelings, recognize them, support each other in it? And by the way, don't you dare try to protect me from your feelings of sadness. We are not a codependent church. I am not a codependent minister. A few people came up to me the other day and said, I love you and I don't want to stand in the way of your joy, but I'm going to really miss Dr. Mark. And I said, I am too. So don't you dare think that you have to protect me from that. I'm fine. I've been doing a lot of spiritual work for a lot of years, and I've had a long time to process this. So stand in your own feelings, stand in your own emotions, whatever is going on for you, and know that as you move through it, I will move through it with you. We will move through it with you. We will be together in this. And as we emerge on whatever that other side, that other expression looks like, in fact, it's not even being on the other side. It's that we are in that process of creating and creating and creating. It doesn't always look like it. It might look static, but it's actually not. It's always dynamic. So we are all here to love each other. I promise you. So how then do we live knowing that change is coming, knowing that change is a constant, and knowing that all life has ways of surprising, shocking, and humbling us? How do we live when something like that happens? I want to tell you that once we know that what love's presence is, trying to argue way out of it is just exhausting and fruitless. And here's the key. The power is not in being loved. The power is in loving. That's where our power lies, in loving. You know, Course in Miracles says if you are sensing that love is missing in any situation or relationship, it's because you haven't brought it. So if you find yourself in a situation thinking, this is really, really hard, where's the love? Be loving. Reach down and pull for that love. If God is all there is, then everything in our life is God. Doubt of the circumstances in our human experience is a calling for reconnecting our humanness with our spiritual essence. I found that I was looking at an old talk today. Several years ago, I was part of a committee that was creating themes for Centers for Spiritual Living in the magazine Science of Mind. And one of the topics that we came up with was called blessitation. Blessitation. So we can bless, we can live in a place of blessitation or hesitation. I want to invite you to honor the hesitation and then move into blessitation. There is a power of blessing as when we call forth the good in us and the good in every other circumstance. We have that power. We have that power. God is the most true thing about you and me. In fact, I want to be really clear here. Not is God only the most true thing about you, God is the only true thing about you and me. Everything else is opinion. Everything else is opinion. And you may have noticed that opinion has very little to do with truth, particularly high spiritual truth with a capital T. So, you know, our world is really engaged and dedicated, it seems, to opinion, reaction to opinion, reaction to reaction, argument about reaction, and opinions about the arguments. Have you noticed? And then we react to the arguments and we start all over again. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I can't, I'm not here for that. I am not here for that. We are here to know who we are and to remember who others are too. We are here to apply these truths. You know, Science of Mind is not something that we observe and study and look at and say, well, that's really, really nice. No, this is applicable spirituality. Applicable spirituality. We are intentionally created beings who have come from an intentional, loving creator. That infinite power and presence which we call spirit or God or soul or universal mind or call it Fred or ketchup or whatever, this presence does not care what you and I call it as long as we respond when we've been called from within to recognize a greater truth. And that power has one purpose, and that purpose is to love itself into expression as its creations, us. We are those creations. As you heard Al Cid say, that power and presence so loved itself that it celebrated all of us. It came into form by way of all of us. So I want to invite you to consider doubling down on your spiritual practice as we go forward, so that together we can really transform not just the world, but ourselves and our response to everything that goes on. And perhaps look for those wonderful growing edges, and those transformations that might be being called for in the way that we do community. Perhaps there are things that we can do where we can really celebrate each other in powerful ways, new ways, different ways. Because life is calling for change. I wish it weren't all the time, but it is all the time. So that's, I don't make the rules. I just talk about them. So before we close, I just want to offer this, that this week as you go into it, use this affirmation. I choose to love and I choose to be loving. I choose to love and I choose to be loving. Say that with me. I choose to love and I choose to be loving. Let's do it again. I choose to love and I choose to be loving. So whether you're at the grocery store, at your home, you're discussing politics or whatever it is, I choose to love, I choose to be loving. Do not hesitate to renew your mind and transform your life. I'm counting on you. We're counting on you. The world needs us to suit up, to show up, and to bring the God. Let's bring the God. Shall we? Let's pray. Thank you. All right. Okay, so we recognize that in this limitless, loving, infinite presence, we have each been brought here with a unique expression, a unique assignment to show up in only the ways we can to bring the God. that we are here as love to express in those things which make us come alive, knowing that it is in that aliveness that we heal, that we are renewed, that we reveal the higher truths and the possibilities, and that we are prospered beyond measure because we are absolutely clear that we are God expressing. I am so grateful that we know this and we choose to know this. I choose to love. I choose to be loving. I choose to love. I choose to be loving. I choose to love. I choose to be loving. And so for any situation in your own life, I choose to love. I choose to be loving. Any situation or relationship in your family, I choose to love. I choose to be loving. Any situation in the world, we choose to love. We choose to be loving. We remember the name and nature of our beingness, our divinity. I am that I am. I am the love in vibrant, powerful expression. We choose to love. We choose to be loving. We choose that for this church, for this community, for all churches everywhere, all paths to God, all mosques, ashrams, temples, synagogues, cathedrals, a space under a bridge where two people gather. We choose to remember, to be loving, to bring the love, to bring the God, and to see that and to be that in every moment. For truly, we are the ones we have been waiting for, and we now admit that, and we stand in that, we have dominion in that, and we claim it, decree it, declare it, and we own it. So in gratitude, I release this word into the activity of spiritual law, knowing it does not return unto us void, but indeed this transformation, whatever shift is needed to take place, is taking place right now, and we are lifted in that. We are lifted up, and we shine. We shine, for we are the light of God. And so it is, and together we say, Amen.
Please sing with us. I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So this is the time when we invite you to share your tithes, your gifts, your love offerings. I invite you to hold them in your hand and then place your hand next to your heart and say with me our statement of affirmative giving. From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper. It is evidence of my faith and belief. It does good work in the world and returns to me multiplied abundantly.
I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
Think that your feet had been bound by what gravity brings to the ground? Did you feel you were tricked by the future you picked? Well, come on down. All those rules don't apply when you're high in the sky. So come on down, come on down. We're coming down to the ground. There's no better place to go. We got snow upon the mountains, we got the rivers down below. We're coming down to the now to hear the birds sing in the trees. We all will be looked after like the seeds out on the breeze. Did you think you'd escape from routine by changing the script and the scene? Despite all you made of it, you're always afraid of the change. You got a lot on your chest, well, you can come as my guest. So come on down, come on down. We're coming down to the truth. There's no better place to go. We got love and life and laughter, and truth will set us free. We're coming down to the now to hear the birds sing in the trees. We all will be looked after. We hit the seas out on the breeze. Like the fish in the ocean, we felt at home in the sea. We learned to live off the good land. We tried to climb up a tree. And we got up on two legs, and we wanted to fly. We're claiming our birthright and set ourselves high. We're coming down to the ground. There's no better place to go. We got snow upon the mountains, we got the rivers down below. We're coming down to the now to hear the birds sing in the trees. And we are all looked after, we send the seeds out on the breeze. We're coming down to the ground of being with new priorities and extraordinary qualities. Coming down, bringing a new heaven and a new earth. Love and life and laughter, we're ready for rebirth. We're coming down to the ground, down to the now. We're coming down to the truth. We're coming down.
And so now for our announcements. On your bulletin, you will see how to make donations to our church through our text to give number, QR code, or through our website, nhcrs.org/give. Prayer with the practitioner is available after service in the sanctuary and on Zoom. If you have babies, kids, or teens, we have a place for all of you. Every Sunday at 9:45, our junior church is open. Every Wednesday night, we have a midweek pickup. It starts with the meditation at 6:50 p.m. and moves into music, wisdom, and healing prayer at 7. Next week, practitioner Mark Rowell's topic will be finding the good in change and transition. Gourmet for God update. Thank you for your generous support of our church. Stop by the Gourmet for God table on Sunday to pick up and pay for your tickets. The Good Gossip Club with practitioner Nikki Savara meets this Sunday at 1 p.m. in the junior church. Please join us. Grief support on Zoom with practitioner Carol Winokur meets this Sunday at 1 p.m. on Zoom. The Zoom link is on your website, and all are welcome. This Sunday at 4 p.m. in the sanctuary, Joanne O'Brien presents her Yesterday Once More concert, The Sound of Karen Carpenter. The tickets are a mere $25 and are almost sold out, so be sure to get yours on our website today. Our Loving Out Outreach Ministry will be feeding the homeless and others on Sunday, April 21st. Volunteers and donations are always welcome. Sign up Sunday on the patio to support this ministry. Foundational class with Reverend Steen on Zoom, 10 Mondays, beginning April 22nd from 7 to 9:30 p.m. This dynamic class teaches science of mind principles and how to use spiritual law to create and celebrate the life you want. It will anchor you powerfully in meditation and affirmative prayer. Cost is $245 or 2 installments of $135. Sign up online. And so here we go. Save the date. This is our opportunity to practice that love and celebrate. It's a celebration Friday, May 3rd at 7 p.m., Reverend Sidney's ordination and installation as our new senior minister. All are welcome. Join us in the sanctuary or on Zoom. There will be a reception immediately following.
Which means food and music.
Yay. So,
Good stuff.
Zoom virtual patio. Before and after Sunday and Wednesday services, Zoom meditation every morning, Monday through Saturday from 7:55 to 8:15 a.m. Visit our website, nhcrs.org, for Zoom links, information, and to sign up for weekly e-blasts and monthly newsletter.
All right.
Thank you.
I think we're there, aren't we? Don't we do something now? I've
Please
been gone a
join us
while.
in singing our closing song, Stand.
All right. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now.
So let there be peace.
I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. Well, we are making a new world now. We are making a new world now. All right, so I surround each soul here in a spiritual magic tube of electronic light protection that is impenetrable, invulnerable, and invincible. A ring pass not. Nothing shall touch them but the direct action of God, and that is love. This is the truth. I know it, God knows it, and I know that I know it. And it is absolutely so, and so it is. Repeat after me, please. I am at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love. Have a wonderful week.